Welcome to the Howie and Beastmode podcast, where we discuss all things business, including growth, strategy, and execution, as well as personal and professional development. Let's join Howie and Beastmode in conversation.
Hey, Howie. So good to see you. I like your sales book back there. Is that new?
No, it's so we brought outreach into my last company, and they sent us a box of those books. And it was really, really good. I actually ended up buying it on Kindle, and I read the whole thing and I marked it up a lot. It's called Sales Engagement, and it's really an outstanding way to think about building your sales.
Well, very cool. I enjoy that it's there.
Yeah, that's good. Kind of my theme. Actually, I eventually when I get a job and I have any money, I do eventually want to work on my Zoom background and put a shelf system bit back there and put some fun stuff and do kind of some cool stuff. But that is not meant to be yet. That's for sure. However, the job search is going well. In fact, I think I'll give the guys a commercial. By the way, are you cool with what I ran by you earlier?
Yes. Yeah, I love it.
Okay, cool. All right. So in fact, and by the way, this is how raw we are right here, guys. We're just raw. But we're going to do a 3-week series soon. Not saying it'll be next week, but it'll be soon, about job seeker tips. And the reason why is I'm an expert on that after having been out of work for 7.5 months. And I think I'm close to a job right now. But again, I've been there before. But I'm going to help really share techniques and tips for how I'm getting engaged with employers, all kinds of stuff. Like I'm going to really spend some time on this in order to really hopefully bless some people who need to know great job seeking tips. So stay tuned for me and Beastmode to talk about that in the near future. Well, what are we talking about this week, though?
I'm telling you that I think it's a business idea, and maybe it's a nonprofit. You do that, and you're taking people who are just in dire health, and you're running them through the gamut.
The nonprofit's kind of appealing. Okay, do you mind if I just share off script right now? I know you don't mind.
Sure, let's get off script.
Well, because I'm going to digress. Part of the reason why I'm willing to spend so much time on content is not just for the podcast, but you know that I've talked about having a nonprofit business college in the future. It's something that I kind of had a vision about it. And so the way I'm thinking, so it's kind of compatible with what you're saying, to be honest, about treating the job search process like that. It is like a ministry. It really is. Or a nonprofit, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't have to be spiritual necessarily. So I actually am building the content in thinking of this business college mindset. Maybe the mini step is I just help people on a regular basis with job search tips. And then the content from that eventually folds into this more formal college kind of thing.
It could be your
Interesting.
It could be your clientele who's coming back. There's hundreds and thousands of people just here locally who need assistance. And if you can get them all on HubSpot and running through and having 40 recruiters reaching out to them and following up and landing jobs, they're going to come back and say, what else you got to tell me, Howie?
Mm-hmm. Interesting. My brother said I should make it a business.
Yes. Well, I've been telling you that.
Yeah, I need a real job. So I probably will focus mostly on that. But there might be something there. It might be interesting enough. My ultimate vision is the business college, but I think this could be a mini step in that direction and an excuse to test the messaging and test the strategies on real people who need real jobs. Because if you think about it from a business college perspective, I know you need classes on sales, classes on marketing, classes on branding. I wonder if you know anybody who might help me with some of those classes. But I know all those, some HR and definitely like cybersecurity, because companies are going under because of their being hacked. So, I mean, there are some really good, there's probably the 12 disciples of topics that we could come up with. But honestly, one of the topics ought to be, I really feel the job search is an important part of your career life cycle.
Yes.
I mean, literally, you could impact families if you just help people get jobs. So yeah, I am listening to what you and my brother are now telling me about that. So cool. Well, sorry to digress, guys, but you know how we are. We're pretty transparent. I mean, this is not a fancy podcast at all. But so talk to us a little bit about the topic for today, in terms of the social and all the good stuff that you thought of, because I liked it, and you kind of were resonating with me really well.
Yeah, it leads us into today's topic, which we're going to discuss engagement. And we believe this is going to be, a series that just kind of comes out of the gut. Basically, episode 1 is going to push into 2, and we're just going to see where it goes from. But really, I think today we're going to spend a lot of time to talk about etiquette, engagement etiquette, primarily social media. And this is a twofold task. So from an individual to an individual, what's the etiquette? I know it burns a lot of people up. There's a lot of memes about it. There's a lot of negativity out there. Some of it's cultural, guys. So before you start throwing fists, some of it's cultural. Understand that. And then we're going to start talking about some etiquette from a business. What should you be doing for engagement? And let me tell you, paid ads is not going to be in the podcast. So we're going to jump right in.
I love that. Well, in terms of, I know people are trying to build their brand. So you're trying to build a personal brand on LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever. People are doing it on Slack channels now. I really feel like I have to go explore that now that I've heard about that. I'm behind the times. But LinkedIn is the biggie. And, people are trying to build their personal brand. And why is that? Well, you want to know why? I've had 5 jobs come to me from LinkedIn where they just saw my posts. Not kidding. I have been a finalist in 2 jobs, like the last, finalist in 2 big jobs, because in both cases, a CEO of a company saw my stuff, had a sense of how I was and my background and whatever, and targeted me for a specific job. A VP of revenue enablement, kind of sales enablement, and then a VP of sales for a small mid-sized company for both software in the software space. And so you want to talk about the value of your brand. It almost got me a job twice, and I had several other bites that didn't make it to the very, very end stage. So it literally does work. And so that's your personal brand. But from a corporate brand standpoint, if you do it right, like if you think about how well Gong does it, and Beastmode knows how much I love what Gong does on LinkedIn. But if you think about what they do, they're creating interesting content that doesn't waste people's feed, doesn't waste people's time. And it's educational. It's also sometimes funny. And guess what? Gong is a great product, but also they're expanding what they do by having good online branding and by their posts.
Yeah, and I'm not as familiar with Gong, but I do know that they're kind of hitting some of the etiquette topics that we want to talk about. And let's just make the first one, whenever you're engaging, right? So if you're engaging as a business, you would want to be respectful of that person's time. And so if I'm engaging you person to person, I'm not going to just walk up to you or drop something in front of you that's 15 pages, right? So why would I want to do that on social media? And so you're being respectful, but at the same time, I understand people aren't going to read that anyways. But if I'm forcing it in your feed and I'm forcing it, it's disrespectful, and when you don't think of it like that, when you just think, hey, I'm one of 100,000 posts somebody's going to see, but you're being disrespectful because you wouldn't do it in person. And I'm telling you, and it's the goodness. It's not one-to-one. When you drop in quality content that's respectful, that has quality engagement, you stand out.
It's really interesting. Today, I had done a job seekers live thing. I had 6 people attend or 5 people or something on Monday, and one of the people who attended made a post about it today, and she was making some comments and kind of riffing off some of the core thoughts about it, and she tagged me on that, and I made just a nice comment to her about I'll be on your side. Like, I'll be in your tribe, basically, was what it was. And she liked that and she appreciated it. But then a CEO of another company she loved it. She loved what I said about the other person. So it's like there's a lot of ways online, by having that kindness and by having the etiquette that Beastmode's talking about and adding value, that will, like he always likes to say, goodness is not one-to-one, it amplifies. So I said something nice to her, and a CEO who I follow saw what I said to her and actually didn't like it. She loved my comment, not even my post, a comment on a post. And so you can really make a difference for people that they feel, and it does help you with your personal brand. Now, I did not comment for my personal brand. I commented because this is a job seeker who has been struggling, and I care about her and I want her to do well. And so I wanted to really show her I am on her side and I'm on her tribe. And so I kind of like unintentionally got some positive blowback from that CEO lady by doing this. But you don't know, you're being watched all the time, and people judge you by what you do and by what you say. And so, yeah, you can add a lot of value, and you don't even know how you're going to add value and how it's going to come back to you, because goodness is definitely not one-to-one in these interactions.
Yeah, I mean, and I know that you didn't, when you made your comment, you weren't thinking about your personal brand, but that's what it is, and it's an authentic comment. Yeah. That you see the immediacy of the results of it whenever you're taking just that authentic approach to uplifting, and that this is from personal to personal and business to business. Your comments should be encouraging and uplifting, respectful, and you can disagree and be all those things. And quite frankly, if you are, it stands out even more when you can disagree, be respectful, be honest, be authentic, and not be a jerk. It stands out a lot more.
Yeah, no disagreement there. There's been some very major brands. There's an analyst firm, one of the top 3 globally sized analyst firms, who I followed because of their brand, because they are such a smart brand and what they do is incredible. But they kept wasting my feed space with posts about like the culture in their Sydney office. And I'm like, it's totally irrelevant. I'm glad you have a good culture in your Sydney office, but that's not powerful enough for me to hear about. And it's kind of braggy. And it's also not location specific to anything that I'm doing. So there's many reasons why, but I ended up unfollowing a famous global analyst firm that everybody would recognize. And I also unfollowed a very well-funded, hot storage company that is super much, they're blowing the world up in the storage space for like corporate, hard drive storage, that kind of storage. And they were wasting my feed. I followed them because they're so famous and they're so important to the industry. But I actually unfollowed them because they were posting a bunch of bragware and a bunch of selfish crap that was wasting my feed. They weren't providing insights at all. Now, on the other side, check this out. So on the other side, I'm going to flip it back to you. I'm taking too long. On the other side, I posted some compliments to Gong because I gave Gong an award that I invented, best use of LinkedIn by a corporation 2020. and I just invented it. And I gave that to Gong because they are a vendor out there that doesn't waste my feed, and they're funny and they provide insights. So they act like they give a crap about me instead of using my feed as their personal thing. And so I complimented them, and that post went viral. And then Gong, true enough to their corporate culture, thanked me on the feed from the corporate account. Yes. And so it's like, and then the CMO thanked me. And so it's like, you have a choice in your personal interactions. First of all, you better be on the platform and you better be engaged, probably daily. Sorry, you better be. pick a platform. LinkedIn for business would be the recommendation, and be involved every single day. And you should probably try to post every day, by the way, and then probably try to comment on somebody every day. But also think about the types of things that really pissed me off. I unfollowed 2 people, and then I complimented one who went viral. And so think about your impact. Has that ripple effect for negative or for positive?
Yeah, and there's so much to unpack in what you just said, but kind of the first and foremost is, and I know that I spent some time on this in our prep, but when I engage with a business, when I engage with Gong, okay, I know that I'm engaging with a business, but I'm anticipating the person on the other side engaging back with me. It's super important. And I know that you can't engage with everybody. I mean, maybe at certain stages you can, and you should. But the engagement, I'm engaging with a business knowing there's an individual there. I don't want to engage with the business to get a business response, to get a cut and dry. That's what makes Whataburger on Twitter so much fun, is you're not getting the cut and dry. You're getting the person behind the box. And you're missing the mark if you're not engaging your connections, your clientele, whoever, on whatever platform you're on. If you're not engaging, you should be reaching out and engaging at any moment possible you can. They have so many, all these platforms do so many things to alert you and provide opportunities for engagement. But oftentimes we're so selfish in saying, I need this person to reach out to me, and then I can do something on the back end. When you go first, it's powerful in the response that you're able to get, in the commitment. There is a commitment to follow. If I'm following you, I'm committing to your content in my space at any point in time, And so what it does is it triggers all these abilities. You wouldn't believe how many likes, follows, subscribes that JL gets and things like that, because we go first. We just want to comment on you. We know you want that. Any thoughts on that, Howie?
No, I think that's great. I mean, I never thought about it before, but being the initiator and being, that pioneer on social to engage with intentionality is something I will be thinking about now. And
let me clarify even more. So I'm engaging. I'm going first. I'm not going first into your private mailbox. That's disrespectful. I'm not sales pitching you to your private mailbox. That's disrespectful. I'm commenting on your post that you made public, that you're hoping people are going to see, comment, like, and share. I'm doing that because that's what you want, and because it's authentic. Have an authentic, couple of phrases or quotes or things that you like as an individual, if you're doing it on an individual basis, and use those authentically, but use those in high volume. I mean, and I'm really mean in high volume. And again, you don't have to go search. Whatever platform you're on is presenting you opportunities every day with reminders about this person or that person, or congratulate this person, or, this happened. Okay, here's an opportunity for me to give you a genuine response that's not canned, that I can provide you an opportunity that's immediately going to trigger that person to say, let me go see what this person's all about. Let me go see their business. Let me go see this and that. And you've just made that connection. And that connection, I'm telling you, is so powerful. Very powerful. Good. So that's my engagement step. And that's number one for personal, person to person, or business to business. That is my number one recommendation. Do that. Set aside 15, 30 minutes or whatever. And that's all you do in that time frame.
So just to repeat that back to you. So when people are on LinkedIn, we're mainly focused on LinkedIn right now. But when people are on LinkedIn, essentially the way that you engage them, a certain, target person, let's just say, is by liking something that they said and commenting.
Yeah, liking and commenting. But again, people have work histories on LinkedIn, 1 year work history. And LinkedIn has canned responses. You can just send a canned response. And a lot of people do that. And most people come through and like that stuff. But whenever you have an authentic response that you already have ready, and every anniversary that pops up in your feed, it's there for a reason, right? And whatever algorithm it did that day, wonderful. I'm going to use these anniversaries. I'm going to use these birthdays. LinkedIn started doing birthdays, if you didn't know. I'm going to start, so-and-so has going on. Okay. And be first to like, comment. And again, you're commenting something authentic, not just a congratulations.
So I have seen people really, really explode their LinkedIn connections in a short amount of time. And there's a lot of hacks actually that you can do that that people have studied and stuff. And so I think there's a lot of, I have kind of chosen to, I probably have a very slow growth approach, which is basically that I post. So I'm going to talk to you for a second about that because it's what I'm mostly familiar with. And then, because I'm not really, I don't do a lot of the hacks and all of the special stuff. In fact, I turned off birthdays and turned off anniversaries actually.
Yeah.
But when I was doing that, I did get some engagement out of that for sure. Yeah. So I think it is a good idea. I just have chosen to go a little more narrow with my social than that.
Yeah. And again, the goal is not, from my perspective, is not to grow connections. I want quality connections that whenever I send something, you're going to read it, you're going to provide insight, feedback.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that is to have that connection tightness on the front end. And most of the time, again, if you're Gary Vee and dropping on a brand new social media platform, you probably don't have to do this, but most people do. And you're engaging first, and you should engage first, do it properly.
It's good. I will be thinking about that in my approach because I stopped doing that. So I'll tell you what I do is I post every day on LinkedIn, 7 days a week, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. And I basically create, I either create original content, and it's just, by the way, it's just whatever hits me. Like I used to keep a content catalog, and I still have it somewhere on my phone. I know where it's at. I just mean I don't look at it anymore. I have a backlog of stuff. I have a backlog of ideas for posts. But the problem is I've found, this is just Howie talking, but if I go look at a topic that I've thought about posting 3 months ago, I may not have the same passion that I did in that moment. So what I've learned is I post it when I think it. And like tonight, I have a prediction I'm going to post, and I'm kind of feeling it, and it's interesting, and I'm going to finish writing it after we record this, and then I'm going to post it. I'm going to move on, and I don't necessarily look at I don't judge myself too much by results. I do like likes, but I also understand that I have to be authentic to post to my tribe. Beastmode talked about that a second ago a little bit, about being authentic and not just trying to build connections. And so I don't think I am perfect in that way because I do want to build connections, but I do have part of that in my heart as far as I want to sort of like sell to my tribe. I want to find my tribe, and I want to push ideas and concepts and inspirations to my tribe. So I just post whatever comes to me, and then my tribe will find it. There is a place for mining and finding new people for your tribe. But also, the algorithm does expose you to some, to some new people. It's a little meager these days, but you'll grow slowly over time if you post authentically to whatever your topic and whatever your personality is. And that's all I do, to be honest. So I'm a very slow grower because I don't do all the hacks. And there's a lot of hacks. For example, I'll give you one of the hacks. So this friend of mine told me this. Apparently the algorithm loves it if you like and comment like crazy on a bunch of stuff. And then basically it boosts your post if you'll do that on someone else's post. The other hack that they told me is tagging a lot of people on your posts. And so I don't do any of that because I don't have time, and LinkedIn's not going to tell me how to live my life. I'd rather grow slow or not at all than to spend, an hour and a half a day fake liking and fake commenting just to boost the algorithm. So they can stuff it because I'm not going to do that. I'm going to post to my little tribe the crap that speaks to me.
Yeah, I think the tagging 90 people or 99, whatever it allows, I think that's disrespectful.
Me too.
Now, I know that groups that band together and 50 of them, and they just constantly
Pods.
do that.
Yep.
Yeah. But it's disrespectful to me whenever you put me in. Whenever I have to go untag my because I didn't ask to be, I'm not doing that.
Yep.
Now, I will tell you, I know you said that it's about growing. It's just an outcome that happens when you're authentic and you're genuine and you're good and the outcome is that people are going to want to draw to you. People are going to connect with you. People are going to see and want to be a part of it. Contact with my current tribe. But what happens is whenever I'm doing that and other people see it, they want to join in. And it's just one of those things that happens, which again, if you're a business and you're trying to get followers, you're trying to get engagement, when you go first, provide quality content that's respectful, and you lead the engagement, lead it, then other people are naturally going to gravitate towards it.
So good. I'm really glad you brought it back to the business branding part and the business social, because, there are some brands that truly add value. My last company actually was pretty good about posting informational things and not just telling everybody that they have a webinar coming up, or whatever, or a new product release, which I would argue that's not the best place for LinkedIn as a product release. But they would focus, 80% of their content, I would say, on very value-added topics, like technical teardowns of a certain problem or whatever. And that's great for their tribe. I mean, that's really useful. So when you post things on LinkedIn as a business or as a personal brand, and you're unselfish in that, and you post value and insights, that will come back to you. It's like Beastmode always says, that goodness isn't one-to-one. That has an expansiveness to your business and to your brand when you do that. So I'm really glad you brought us back to the business aspect.
For sure. And so I know that we can wrap this one up, tie a bow on it for engagement, as we're just kind of dipping our toe in the water of what we want to do. But we do want to. There is a right way and there is a wrong way for engagement, and we're just going to start expanding on that over the next couple of weeks. Maybe have some pop-ups for lunch on Wednesday, and maybe something sporadic throughout the week. So be on the lookout for those. Howie, it's always a pleasure, my friend.
I enjoyed it. Where can they find us?
Anywhere you can find podcasts. I'm actually pretty surprised at the new places people find podcasts nowadays. Lets us know, but all the big players, of course, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. We're live on Facebook right now, and we're live on YouTube throughout the week as well. So Wednesdays for lunch, come check us out, have a cup of coffee, have a sandwich with us while we just chat for a few minutes and just kind of check in.
Cool. we'll see you next time then.
All right. See you soon.